If you live in King County, your taxes are going to get even higher. But I want to explain how we got to this point. So remember we talked about Governor Bob Ferguson's big campaign promise that he was going to get $100 million set aside to hire new cops. That was what he told us this was for. Remember? His dramatic political ad where he said 50th. Washington is 50th in the nation, last in the nation for number of police officers per capita. He had a very serious face. He said, as governor, I'll fix it. So he said he was going to get $100 million set aside to hire more law enforcement officers. And so this got pushed during the legislative session. And as we've talked about on this show, what was passed wasn't what he promised. What was passed was $100 million for law enforcement. But in order to be able to utilize it, local jurisdictions would have to pass new taxes. So that was contingent. So you can supplement the money you're getting. So contingent on passing new taxes on your citizens. And then also, the money could basically be used for anything. Not 1 cent of the $100 million, as you know, has to go to hiring actually new law enforcement officers. It could go to emergency response to like storms. Anything they can characterize under the umbrella of public safety. It could go to unarmed community responders, which is something the left talks about all the time. As if you have someone in the throes of a mental health crisis who's threatening to stab people on the street, that you want someone going there who's unarmed, right? So the whole thing was a sham. Well, of course, King County is the first county to try to take advantage of this sham. And what is step number one? Remember? They've got to pass a new tax. So what do? Passed a new tax. Good God. King County Council approves safe and stable community sales tax to prevent devastating cuts to public safety. Today, the King County Council voted 8-1 to approve the safe and stable community sales tax, a critical measure to protect public safety, preserve essential services, and stabilize King County's budget amid a projected $160 million deficit. The legislation, co-sponsored by Council Chair Gurmai Zahalai and Budget Chair Rod Dembowski, establishes a 0.1% sales tax and use tax equal to 10 cents on a $100 purchase. All revenue generated will be directed exclusively to maintaining and strengthening King County's criminal justice, behavioral health, and public safety systems. The new tax will allow King County to prevent layoffs in the sheriff's office and the prosecuting attorney's office and the Department of Public Defense, sustain court operations and victim advocacy programs, support behavioral health services, including mental health and substance abuse treatment, invest in diversion, gun violence prevention, and domestic violence response efforts. So in case, you thought we were just guessing, no, they did tie this directly to what was House Bill 2015, which is the bill that created a $100 million fund for law enforcement. It says the vote follows the passage of House Bill 2015, which granted local governments the authority to adopt a public safety sales tax. King County became eligible to implement this tool after meeting all other required public safety and accountability standards, including crisis intervention and de-escalation training, transparent use of force reporting, other reform benchmarks to increase public trust in law enforcement. Because remember, those were also requirements. If you want this money, we talked about this at length, but for those who might have missed that episode, if you want this money, not only do you have to pass a new tax on your citizens to get it, but you also have to be policing in the way that progressives want you to police. So you have to have gone through all these bias training, all this stuff, and done all the woke stuff that the Democrats in the legislature want you to do, and then you can get the money. So basically, King County can benefit from it. But if you're in a rural county that hasn't adopted some of these asinine things Democrats want you to adopt, well, you're not going to get a cent of it because you need to police in the way that they want you to police. So that's what's happening in King County. A couple of the statements, and this is important because, of course, Gurmai Zahalai is running for King County executive. He said, today we took decisive action to avoid a public safety crisis. Oh, my God. Without this revenue, the consequences would have been severe and immediate. Rod Dembowski said, I'm grateful that the King County Council took decisive action today to protect our communities by authorizing this vital public safety funding measure. Before I get to what the lone no vote said, that is such bullshit from both of those men. Why do you think we're in a public safety crisis? Because of a lack of leadership, which you've contributed to, and because of the vilification of law enforcement, which you've also both contributed to. Why do you think we're having such a hard time? And then also in terms of a budget crisis, you've both been on the King County Council. Rod, you've been on the council forever. You put us in a budget crisis. And for Gurmai, who was totally anti-cop when it was in vogue in 2020 to say, oh, we're avoiding a public safety crisis. You helped create the crisis by vilifying law enforcement. See, what do? We talk about this all the time. They create a problem, and then they come to you with their hand out and ask you for money to fix it. Because it's all about just money and increased tax revenue to go to things that they want to go to. You think a dime of this is going to actually go to hiring more sheriff's deputies or to public safety in the sense that those of us with a brain think about public safety, like enforcing the law? No. This is going to go to like weird programs around DEI and it's not going to actually make King County more safe. They're going to take all this money from you, and I promise you 5 years from now, King County will be worse off than it is now. But it's just, aren't you sick of like the people who vilify law enforcement, ruin public safety, and then come back and pass new taxes on you to fix the issue they just broke? So the lone no vote was Reagan Dunn, of course. He said, I oppose the new sales tax increase because it bypassed the voters, had no definitive spending plan, and was passed by the council without first looking for cuts or savings in King County's $20 billion biannual budget. I also expect that most of the money won't go to real criminal justice programs when all is said and done. And I believe him, and I think that that's exactly right. It'll go to like, I don't know, some gun-hating policies like, hey, let's spend $160 million rounding up people's guns or something dumb like that. I mean, these are people who won't even admit what's causing the public safety crisis, won't even admit what's causing the homeless crisis or the drug crisis, have had a hands-off approach to drugs, hands-off approach to homelessness, hands-off approach to gang violence and gun violence actually being perpetrated by criminals. They're laser focused on law-abiding gun owners. And now they want us to believe that, oh, if we just give them $160 million more every year, that they'll fix it. No, they're going to make it worse. So a good reminder, if you have your ballot in front of you, if you live in King County, which I haven't filled out my ballot yet, but it is sitting on my counter, it's a good reminder why there's no good option in this race for King County Executive. One of them is Gurmai Zahalai. The other one is Claudia Balducci. Both of them voted for this sales tax increase. Both of them have been soft on crime. Both of them are a train wreck. I mean, this is just a horrible situation. I don't know if they're worse than Dow, because Dow just was a liar and a con man and made everything worse. So it might just be a lateral, but the option has to be Claudia Balducci, because Gurmai Zahalai, I mean, that's just straight socialism. So Claudia, probably be a push from Dow Constantine, but she voted for this thing too. But okay, if you got to vote for someone. And Gurmai is not an option, people. He's not an option. So suck it up. Take a shot of alcohol if you have to. Fill in the circle for Claudia Balducci. Just ridiculous. So this is what was going to happen. Democrats promising something. Oh, more cops, watering it down. Bob Ferguson, oh, this is such a win. Sneaking in there that, oh, these counties can increase sales taxes without going to voters. So then King County gets to turn around and do it. Everybody gets to act like they're trying to support public safety, but it's all about padding their pockets, pushing progressive policies, and acting like they did something at the end of the day when they didn't. It's insane, as if taxes in King County need to be any higher.